Well, hello there and welcome to the channel, and in this video we're going to be talking about how you can stop your Christmas tree from dropping its needles. We're going to tell you why it happens. We're going to tell you what you can do to mitigate that. And we're going to tell you which Christmas trees are the most at risk from dropping its needles. So let's get on with it. This important stuff. Now, you may not know this, but over half the weight of a healthy Christmas tree is actually water, and they use water for part of their normal metabolisms and also for maintaining their temperature so they don't get too hot during sunny periods. So when you bring your Christmas tree into your home, I'm assuming you can afford to have the heating on, then you're bringing it into a area where temperatures are approximately 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. So what will happen is the plant will warm up. It will naturally try and lose moisture through the needles in order to keep itself cool at a temperature where it can metabolize efficiently, and as such it will lose water during that process. Now that causes a problem if you bought a tree that especially hasn't got any roots on, or that you're not watering, because as it dries out it cannot replenish that water, so the plant goes into shock and decides in order to survive it will drop its needles in order to stop losing any more moisture. And of course there you have all your needle drop, and you'll be spending the next 4 weeks hoovering it up like a mad person. So assuming you are not the kind of person that enjoys removing pine needles from your feet for an hour or so in the morning, what then can you do to reduce or even prevent the needle drop on your Christmas trees? Well, I will tell you, there are a number of things that you can do. Firstly, do not position your Christmas tree near a radiator or a draft, because that will quickly dry out and your needles will be falling aplenty in no time whatsoever. Secondly, use a Christmas tree that actually has roots on it. The best ones for that are going to be the pot grown Christmas trees, because they will have an established root system. In that root it will be viable, you can water it, the plant will take water in from the roots to replenish any water loss from your tree. Avoid buying potted Christmas trees, because that is different. So you've got potted and pot grown. Potted are the ones they're kind of ripped out the ground by some YTS kid, and there's basically no roots on it. The roots won't be functioning. It might be in a pot with soil, but it won't be actually established in there, and therefore still won't be able to take up water. So those two are probably the best thing to do, but there are more things that you can do. Now listen carefully. The first one is to leave your Christmas tree outside in the cool until the very last moment, and then bring it in for Christmas. And that way it has as much water still in it as it possibly can before you start putting it in the warmth, and it will start drying itself out. Secondly, use a Christmas tree stand that has a reservoir in it that will contain water, so that if you do buy yourself a cut Christmas tree, and that's a standard Christmas tree with the roots severed from the base, then you can put that base, or that cut base, in your reservoir water, and that will allow it to take up some of the water. What I would recommend is, prior to putting your Christmas tree in the reservoir, do a fresh cut at the base 2 or 3 inches above the original cut, and that will help to improve the ability of that plant to take up water. Now be aware, let me just quickly get something. There you go. Now, the outside of the trunk of the tree, just underneath the bark, is where you have your vascular system, or your vascular bundle, and this is where you have the xylem, which is the part of the plant that takes up the water into the trunk and the branches and the stems. Now, if you bought yourself a Christmas tree stand that is too small for the base of your trunk, and you decide to whittle it down, and you end up removing the vascular system, then even though this is in water, you won't be able to take up the water, because you've removed the part of the plant that does that job. Now, that's important. Make sure you buy the right tree stand. Now thirdly, now this is regards to whereabouts on the needle that the plant will lose its moisture, and it's typically underneath the needle. You have your stomatal pores, and that is where the water is released. But back in the day, what they used to do was get a tin of hairspray and used to spray the tree, and that used to block the pores, preventing or physically preventing the water from being lost, and that would allow the Christmas trees to maintain their needles for far longer. Now, we wouldn't recommend using hairspray today because it is, in many cases, actually flammable. So you would buy yourself a specific can of needle fast spray. And really the only other thing, and I don't think it's such a thing nowadays, is to use LED lights, because they are cool lights rather than old-fashioned kind of mains light that actually heat up, because the heat from the lights will also increase water loss. And with that in mind, do remember that pine resin is particularly flammable, so just be very, very careful with dried out leaves when using flammable products such as hairspray. Don't use the hairspray. Back in my lovely chair. So to conclude, which is the worst Christmas tree for dropping its needles? Well, it is your cut Christmas tree, the Picea abies, commonly known as the Norway spruce. That's your traditional Christmas tree. It's the one that's been sold predominantly over the past 100 to 150 years, and they are shocking for dropping their needles. So of course you can do what you can to mitigate that. I've used that word twice now. Helps to make me sound clever, well, it doesn't make me look clever. But there are cut Christmas trees that do hold on to their needles far, far better, and that is your, at least in the UK, that would be your Nordmann fir, your Abies Nordmanniana. Now that's commonly known as your needle fast Christmas tree, and despite being cut, it is very, very good for holding on to its needles. Next we'll go on to the potted Christmas trees, which could be any Christmas tree that's been put into a pot with some wet mud but doesn't actually have a viable root system. Of course, they're going to dry out, and if you and you will often see the Norway spruce sold as a potted Christmas tree, and they're pretty much going to be as bad, maybe not quite as bad, but still bad for dropping its needles. Anything that is grown as a pot grown Christmas tree, so it's a genuinely live growing Christmas tree with a working root system, they're going to be your best. They will lose moisture, but you can water them and the roots will be able to take up the moisture to replenish it, so they drop very, very little. So there we have it. That's my how to stop your Christmas trees from dropping their needles. And if there's anything you'd like to add, any great tips that you've come across that will also help to reduce the drop of needles on your Christmas season, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for watching. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in the next video. But before I go, just this bit. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description, you can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I've still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.